and welcome to another episode of Mine Planning Matters, a podcast where we talk about where the industry gets it both right and wrong when it comes to mine planning and mining engineering. This podcast is not just for mine planners, it's for everyone who has anything to do with mine plans, from those who create them, to those who execute them, and all the way up to those who endorse or sign off on them. My name is Mark Bowater, Director and Founder of Australian Mining Consultancy Insignia Mining, and I speak from experience, having been involved in mine planning for over 30 years. Hello everyone, welcome to Mine Planning Matters episode 8, another episode on stochastics. After we had a short interval with a story there in the last episode. Now we've talked about the why, that was episodes 3 to 6. Now I want to start to talk about the how and have a few episodes on the how. And so when I think about starting with the how, I think for me the first place to start is what are we going to vary, okay? Because we're going to vary some inputs into our plan and then run a number of sort of simulations. So fine, what should we vary? And the interesting thing here is that having spoken to a few software providers, a few of the guys in the software companies who have run stochastics and testing their tools and so on, they tell me that in actual fact, running the schedule, running the stochastics part of the schedule is actually the easy part. The hard part is the two bookends, which at one end is the inputs and in particular what the distributions look like, because that's pretty fundamental to the success of running the stochastics. And then the other hard part is the outputs at the end, right? When you run 100 plans and you get those outputs from 100 plans. Now it's pretty easy to say, for example, grab the product, the ore product tons on an annual basis or monthly basis or whatever it is that's relevant, and plot those out and see a distribution in that. But the real art is then trying to drill down and delve further and try and work out what it all means. So, you know, the distributions at the beginning and the reporting or the analysis at the end are probably the two hard and key parts. And so we're going to start with the distributions part at the beginning. Now, there are a lot of things that you could vary, and for me, it's like there's a few that spring to mind, right? There's the geology, the ore body itself, both quality and quantity. And then there's the whole equipment production. And equipment production is a factor of two things. It's a factor of the equipment time and it's a factor of the equipment productivity rates. So there's three things for me that I would think about varying and sort of working out distributions for inputs. Now, when it comes to the geology, ironically, I think, and it's obviously different for every ore body and so on, but I think that generically, probably the geology of the ore body is one of the things that has the biggest impact on our plans and the accuracy of our plans and the reliability of our plans. And so it's actually where I really would like to start. I would love to start with geology. But I'm a mining engineer, I'm not a geologist. It's not an area of expertise. And that whole, variability in the ore body and how we build that into a mine plan, for me, has a lot of complexity around it. I don't think that's simple. And I'm a great fan of keep it simple, stupid, the KISS theory. And so if we're going to do this, I think we start simple. And so I don't think we start with geology. And I think that further down the track, I want to come back to geology. I want to talk about it again. But for me now, it's let's start simple. So let's start with equipment productivity. Now, equipment productivity, as I said, is equipment production is timed by productivity. When it comes to time, well, then there's really two main things that come into time. It's the equipment availability and it's the utilization of the equipment. And we could vary lots of things there, and we could go down the path of having discrete events with probabilities around them, so major breakdowns or major weather events or those sorts of things. And then we could just have standard distributions around things that are going to just vary all the time. Other things such as minor maintenance, crib breaks and so on. So, we could vary, we could get right into sort of setting a number of variations around availability and utilization. Again, like I say, I prefer to keep it simple. And so I think I would start simpler than that. I think I would actually just start with an hours per day or something like that, which is the operating hours per day, which is the combination of availability and utilization. And then we can vary productivity as well, the hourly productivity rates or daily productivity averages or whatever it is. We could even go simpler again, and we could actually just combine the two of time by productivity in terms of a production rate. And so we actually could just vary the production, be it daily production, weekly production, whatever it is, depending on how long the schedule is that you're running. And that's actually what I would recommend as a starting point. Like I say, I'm a great fan of keep it simple. I think we start simple with stochastics, and I say, we might start with just, for example, varying the daily production rate. So we might go back and look at historical daily productions out of equipment, whatever equipment that is, build up a record, look at what the distribution looks like. It's highly unlikely that it's going to be a normal distribution. It's probably going to be more skewed or something like that. And so there is some art in actually choosing those distributions and so on. And for me, choosing, lots of different elements to vary and trying to work out lots of distributions is probably not where I would start. I would just start with simple. And I think it's going to be difficult enough to actually work out a representative distribution in terms of what you should use as the input if you just choose something like a production, a daily, hourly, weekly, whatever that is, depending on the life of the plan, the length of the plan. And so that's where I would start. Thanks for listening to Mine Planning Matters and my thoughts on mine planning. This podcast is for the benefit of the mining industry, and that's you. So I'd love to hear from you through the comments section, and please feel free to let me know any topics you'd like discussed in future episodes. You'll find much more content at our Insignia Mining website, and if you find any of our content valuable, please let your mining colleagues know so they can benefit as well.